Hey, it's Austen Marie, and this is the NeuroSpicy MomPod, the place where we talk about the stuff that definitely did not show up in the parenting books, like what to do when your 5-year-old treats brushing their teeth like a federal interrogation. I didn't sign up to be a full-time crisis negotiator, but here I am, mic in one hand, emotional support snack in the other. Today, we are diving into pathological demand avoidance, or PDA, what it actually is, how it impacts kids and their families, and why traditional parenting tools don't work when you're raising a kid whose nervous system treats every ask like a trap. I'm also going to share what science is learning about PDA and give you a little mix of real life, emotional truths, and yes, a little sprinkle of woo-woo. Let's start with the science. Pathological demand avoidance is considered a profile of autism. It was first described in the UK by Professor Elizabeth Newson in the 1980s, but it's only just now starting to get attention in the US. It's not officially listed in the DSM-5, which means many professionals here don't recognize it yet, leading to widespread misdiagnosis, especially in kids who appear bright, verbal, and socially curious. Dr. Cynthia Martin, she's the clinical director at the Autism Center at the Child Mind Institute, explains it in this way in a Child Mind Institute article. Any external demand that's coming from someone else, or even just feels like it is, creates a lot of internal discomfort. And that's what leads to the avoidance. So it's not that PDA kids are being willfully defiant. What looks like resistance is really their anxiety and their nervous system saying, "This doesn't feel safe." The core feature of PDA is anxiety-driven avoidance of everyday demands, even when those demands are things the person wants to do. This can look like refusing to get dressed, even if they picked the outfit, refusing to eat, even when hungry, simply because someone told them they needed to eat, melting down when asked to clean up, constantly negotiating, avoiding, or running away from basic tasks. Sudden role-playing, distractions, using silly voices, or even quoting lines from movies or shows as avoidance tools. Sidebar, this kind of scripting or quoting is actually a clever self-regulation strategy for many PDA kids. It helps create an emotional distance from the demand. It gives them a sense of control and taps into something predictable when the world feels overwhelming. For them, channeling a character or familiar line can feel safer than facing the request directly as themselves. This is not just oppositional behavior. PDA kids aren't doing this to be difficult. Their nervous system perceives a loss of autonomy as a threat. So the panic, it is real. It activates the same kind of fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses we see in trauma and severe anxiety. Psychologically, being PDA means living in a constant tug-of-war between wanting connection and control. These kids often feel deeply ashamed or confused about their behavior. They can be incredibly empathetic and self-aware, and still unable to follow through on what they actually want. We are a neurodivergent family, but my kid's presentation, totally different. My oldest is breezy by comparison. His teachers say that he's just chatty. He can get through school without any major issues. But my youngest, he's PDA to his core. My youngest hasn't yet even entered the public school system, but I've already had to deal with losing childcare for him twice. Once when he was 2 and again right before he turned 5. In both cases, the caregivers said they couldn't meet his needs. The preschool director literally said I was using his autism as a crutch. She saw shutdowns and elopement as just defiance. This isn't rare. PDA kids are often misunderstood and mislabeled as manipulative, disrespectful, or spoiled. And that misunderstanding can show up everywhere, at school, in daycares, at the park, even in well-meaning conversations with family. It's especially common when a child appears articulate, imaginative, or socially interested. People assume that because they can talk or play or just seem fine for short bursts, that they're just being difficult when they refuse basic tasks or melt down. It's even more confusing for others when the child can make eye contact, use polite language, or mask really well for short periods. And then they completely fall apart at home or later in the day. What they don't see is that child's nervous system is constantly working overtime just to get through those moments. The demand, even a gentle one, sends their brain into panic mode. So what looks like inconsistency to others is actually a very fragile state of regulation that can unravel at any time. For parents, this can feel like whiplash. One minute they're participating and the next they're hiding under a table or shutting down completely. It's hard not to take it personally sometimes. It's hard not to feel like you're failing, especially when everyone around you is watching, judging, or offering advice that doesn't really apply to our reality. I've experienced this in more ways than I can count. A sudden loss of childcare, the heartbreak of watching my child want to participate but to freeze instead, or realizing too late that a new activity was just too much. These moments are real and painful, but they're also incredibly common in PDA parenting. And the more we understand what's underneath the behavior, the more compassion we can bring to our kids and to ourselves. The parenting books say consistency is key, but consistency with a PDA child often leads to escalation. Why? Because consistency feels like pressure. Rewards, punishments, and even gentle parenting scripts all depend on some level of cooperation. And when your child's brain sees cooperation as threat, none of those tools land. Here's what has helped. Low demand living. We build in blank spaces. No plans, no asks. I offer things gently and stay flexible. Collaborative framing. Instead of saying, time to get ready, I say, should we go as ninjas or dinosaurs today? I let him control the narrative, even in little ways. Sensory predictability. I prep him ahead of time with what sounds he might hear, where I'll be, and how he can come to me. I bring headphones now, and I ask how he wants me to support him, if he wants me to hold him tight or just stand next to him. Heart hugs. We regulate together. I hold him close with our hearts pressed up against each other, and that physical connection grounds us both. We call them heart hugs. It's not a magic trick, but it helps bring both of us down from fight or flight. Ritual and energy work. Yes, the woo. I'll be real. I also burn lavender oil, and I ask my guides to help me stay calm when I'm about to snap. Woo isn't about fixing him. It's about supporting me to stay present. I also believe that our energy as caregivers matter. When I show up dysregulated, my child feels that. When I can ground my energy, he sometimes meets me there. PDA kids are especially sensitive to energy, tone, posture, emotion, even if they don't have the words for it. So regulating myself first is a spiritual practice and a nervous system one. If you're parenting a PDA child, I just want to say, I see you. I see the tears behind the steering wheel. I see the exhaustion when your child refuses to leave the house. I see the strength it takes to meet your child where they are, even when you're falling apart. Before we go, I want to offer a few supports that might help and don't require a diagnosis, a specialist, or a huge budget. The first is to look for PDA support groups on Facebook or Reddit. Just search PDA parenting and you'll find real people who get it. Low-demand parenting resources like PDA Society, based in UK but helpful globally, or books like Understanding PDA by Sally Catt. Somatic tools for your own regulation, even simple breath work or hand-over-heart grounding can create a co-regulating ripple effect. Scripts and visual supports you can I'm so bad at that, DIY at home, using stick figures, emojis, or even meme-styled charts if that works for your kiddo. You don't need to do it perfectly, just consistently show up with curiosity and compassion. That's what changes everything. You're not doing it wrong, you're just doing something hard that almost no one understands. If this episode helped, I'd love it if you shared it with another NeuroSpicy parent who needs to hear they're not alone. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you tune in. Join me on the Patreon for bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes rambles, and access to our private NeuroSpicy community chat board. For just $5 a month, you can help this healing mama move one step closer to financial freedom while supporting the growth of this podcast and community. Before we wrap up, I want to shine a little love on this week's small business shout-out because you all know how much I believe in women supporting women. This week, I'm shouting out the incredible Sarah Karas, the powerhouse behind Salty and Chic Designs. Sarah is a show-it web designer and branding expert who helps small business owners go from this kind of works to, okay, I'm obsessed. Her websites are stunning, but also super strategic. She's all about creating designs that not only look amazing, but actually convert and connect. Whether you need a custom website, a brand refresh, or a DIY template that doesn't feel like a cookie cutter, Sarah's your girl. And this part makes me extra mushy because Sarah is also a supporter of my own small business, Sparkling Spaces. She's already booked a cleaning and shown up with the same kind of generosity she brings to her own work. It seriously means the world to have that kind of support. So if your business branding or website needs a little magic touch, go check out at SALTYXCHIC. I pinky promise you'll be swooning over her designs in no time. And before we go, I just want to ask a quick question for the squad. I've been thinking about starting each episode with a little unscripted life update. So just to let you all in on a bit more, share some behind the scenes chaos. What do you think? Would you want to hear that? Leave a comment or drop your thoughts in the community tab on Patreon. Would you guys be interested in having a little personal 5-minute segment of just me rambling about life? And just remember, you are doing the best you can. You are not alone, and you are so, so loved. See you next week, fam. Ta-ta.